So we know Shelley as a businesswoman, successful. We know Shelley as a BBC presenter. We know her as a commentator. But what I want to know is about Shelley Jory-Leigh, the athlete, and the big return. Now, Shelley, you went from quite a serious injury, a few years missing from the sport, but you're back in powerboats. Tell me about it.
If somebody had said to me 5 years ago, it's going to take you 5 years to recover from this accident, I would have said, no way. I'm really tough. I'm as tough as old boots. I've been powerboat racing. I've done accidents, etc. But they were absolutely right. It has taken me 5 years to get there. Physically, I was probably right in about 2 years. Mentally, no way. 5 years. I've raced. I went back to racing last year in America for the first time. And it was okay. I was back in the big boats, in the big speed, back in harnesses, full canopies, doing about 120 mile an hour. But I was sat there waiting for something to go wrong all the time. And any athlete, as you well know, Dee, if you're sat there waiting for something to go wrong and you're not enjoying it and you're not fully focused on it, you've got to get out. You give up. And it was really, really hard. And there were two big races in America and it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. And I just kept trying and trying. And I very nearly gave up this time last year. I was like, do you know what? It's not going to come back. So let's just carry on with the media side and, ambassador for the sport and just help other people enjoy what I love so much. But then I went to Lake Coniston and I got the record.
I know I should be calling you Lady of the Lake, which is your new title now.
That sounds quite ghostly-like, doesn't it? It sounds very, very ghostly-like. Maybe I can just swan across the lake. Yeah, that was really good. I mean, it's not a full-blown race. You're on a lake, it's flat calm. Most of the time you can't actually see where you're going because it's really misty, which is interesting at 120 mile an hour. But I totally, I don't know, I just felt completely different. I just felt that I felt really relaxed in the boat. I felt calm. I felt happy. I got out. I wanted to do it again. And I just haven't had that feeling for 5 years. And it was just a totally different feeling. And I just thought, do you know what? I've got a record. Still haven't got that world title. I think I'm going to be ancient before I get my world title. But yeah, got a record. And I thought, I've got to do this. So next year, 2016, it's basically now or never. So I'm doing it. I'm back.
That's awesome to hear because I know as the British champion, you were desperate to get that world title and then you started so well and then you had the big setback. But to see you so positive, so buoyant, it must be something that Vector Martini have right, that you're really going for their records with them. They're giving you the confidence and support. But to get back on this roadshow again, you had to go through quite a lot, get your medical back up to date, to get your license, your fitness, I assume, after 5 years. And also the big dunk test. How did you deal with all of that psychologically?
The fitness, I haven't quite got back. I have to be fair. Before next year, there's a stone or two that needs to come off and a few muscles need to be refound. But to do the lake, to get back onto the lake, I didn't need full fitness like an endurance race, which is what I'm going to need for next year in June. I had to jump through so many hoops, Dee, you wouldn't believe it. With the RYA, the Royal Yachting Association, for us to get our powerboat license, if we haven't had one for I think it's for 2 years, if you haven't renewed your license, you have to basically start back at the beginning. So I'd had a powerboat license for 17 years, every year, without fail, done my dunk test, done my medical. Then I didn't have one for 4 or 5 years. So I had to go back and prove to the RYA that I could still drive a boat. So I had to go back and do my RYA level 2, advanced powerboat racing.
Wow.
Full first aid. And it was, but actually I had a great time. I did it with Absolute Aqua down in Poole, and I know the instructor, and of course, he was laughing because he actually did say to me, he said, driving it at full speed in a straight line, obviously you've still got the knack here and you've got great control of the boat, but basically you're parking, you're berthing, coming into a marina and alongside is shit.
So basically,
And
all the time when other people can see you, you're not very good.
no, don't. As long as I'm going in a straight line at high speed and going around corners really fast, I'm brilliant. But just don't ask me to bring the boat alongside because it goes quite horribly wrong, actually. But I've always had a crew to do that. It's a bit like you. You've always got crew jumping around helping you. And, we would come in, like we'd be racing in Italy or Malta, and we'd come alongside, and all the Italian crew or your American crew would just jump on, take the ropes, and you basically stand there and go, oh, my job is done. I'll go and have coffee. So, yeah, I'm rubbish that bit. Anyway, I did all my
Well, if
tests.
if it makes you feel better, though, I don't think a Formula One driver can do parallel parking. So, it's the same type of thing, I guess.
Do you know what? You've nailed it there. I swear to God, Lewis Hamilton, I bet if you asked him to park his car in London, wouldn't be able to do it. I bet you definitely can't.
That's
Can't parallel park, save his life.
that's why they have chauffeurs at that level.
Now, see, this is it. This is what it's all about. No, I did do all my tests, got back on, did my medical, which I passed, which I was amazed, and then went and did the horrible dunk test, which is always just something horrible. I think anybody who has to do the dunk test for their job, if they're a helicopter pilot, work offshore, it's just horrid. I mean, they put you in a cage, they strap you in, they turn you upside down, and basically, want you to be underwater, drowning, struggling, and unhappy. And then they want to make sure that you can stay calm and get yourself out. I mean, it's not the sort of thing that you want to do on every Sunday morning, to be fair. But I did it and I felt very happy. And actually, Andark Diving said to me, who've done all my dunk tests for me, bless them, and they know that I'm not a lover of it. I prefer to be on top of the water, not underneath the water. They said as well, they said, you're a different person. The 5-year break has obviously done you good because you are a totally different person. You're calmer, you're more focused. So I'm really hoping that this year is going to be a great year. I'm going for endurance racing. I'm not going to go back racing around the cans at high speed, which is sort of Formula One on water. I'm doing the big endurance racing. So I'm joining your world, Dee. I'm going to head off into the darkness.
No, no, let's clarify. You're still a petrol head, but are there many girls involved? You've been missing 5 years. Have people followed in your footsteps, or are you still the minority, sadly?
Um, I'm still the minority. We are still the minority, but nowhere near like it was when I left 5 years ago. I would like to say that I have encouraged more women to come into the sport. There's definitely more. I can think of, just straight off the top of my head, I can think of a good 8 girls who are racing really well in the United Kingdom in different classes. And I think, when I sort of started, 10, 15 years ago, we were about 3. So they are coming in, and we've also got them coming in at a young age, which is fantastic in the kids class. There's a couple of girls in the kids class. I mean, we're talking like 9 and 10 years old, and they are
Oh,
absolutely
wow.
wicked. They're on it and loving it. And yes, there's some great girls moving up,
Oh,
and
that's really
half
good.
my age. Yeah, it is. It's really good. It'll always be a man's world, motorsport, but the women are definitely coming through and are coming through and winning. They're not just competing. They're winning, they're getting the championships, and they're getting the points.
Well, you must be really proud because obviously you're the precursor to all of that happening. And so, what time of year is the Venture Cup? Just so we know to keep off the beaches in Ireland.
The Venture Cup is going to be in June. It's at the beginning of June, and we'll run for the idea is to run for about 12 days. If weather goes bad, then we may stretch out to 2 weeks. But first 2 weeks of June, we will be blatting round Ireland. And then I am hoping to do some more world records with Vector Martini. They've got loads of records up their sleeve that they want to do. So we've got a little bit of unfinished business with Vector Martini. Need to do some more records with them. And that will be my world title then. I'll get my world record and not go back and do a full series anymore. I've seen it, done it, got the postcard, bit like you. I want to move on to new ventures.
Nice. Well, it's nice to see you be a glory hunter. So Ireland, that's going to be interesting because there's actually the Round Island sailing race as well, which is happening from the
Oh.
18th of June. So it's very busy in Ireland in June. But it's good that they're keeping us both separate, I think.
Oh, I might have to stay on and then come and support that. So Robin would be very impressed with me if I did that.
Very, that's right. It's good links. Well done. So we're wishing you all the best for that. And it's really lovely to have you on the show. Thank you very much for spending time with us.
Thank you.